I thought we'd just start the podcast and just talk about how
you're eating your
Sam can't beat me. Yeah, while I'm eating my ham and.
I think we need to play. I think we need to do one of those races to 100, and whatever the 14-9 is, you just got to give me that spot. Honestly, that ratio, you just got to
probably need it.
Yeah, come on,
Sam. I think if we played a race to 100, I don't know if you'd get past 10 on the first 10 games.
Alrighty.
What are we talking about today, chaps?
I don't know. I'm just eating my breakfast. I have nothing better to do. Jim, how was your holidays? You look very festive today.
I'm feeling very festive. I can't hear anything because this thing's over my ears, but
you must not have heard the question I just asked you, so that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we've had a decent Christmas, yeah. Santa Claus was good to us. Yeah.
Santa Claus.
We've eaten a lot.
I don't know.
We're basically on a continuous drinking binge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not really sure what to think about Santa's visit to my house because he brought me Bloody Mary mix. So I'm not really sure.
Wow, how come you got that and I didn't?
Yeah, that's what I got for Christmas. So
was it the good stuff?
Not the stuff that we had at the Moscone Cup, unfortunately.
Oh, we need to get hold of that.
Yeah, I you know what? I'll figure it out, Jimbo, and I'll have some in Vegas.
Because that was awesome. That was good stuff. Little Chris, how you doing, mate? Happy holidays.
Yay, we got
Little Chris has had it busy this year. Like he does every Christmas, running around helping Santa Claus make presents and deliver them.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God, Jim. You're a nasty man. You are a nasty man, Jim.
Oh, well.
You are a nasty, nasty man. I cannot believe that you would do that.
You're just upset that you didn't think of it.
A little bit, yeah. Honestly. All right, Sam. How was your holiday fiascos? Did Santa bring you lots of presents?
Yeah, got a few. Spent a lot of time with the family. I was glad I didn't have to talk to you at all. Cowboys lost, so that sucked.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got Sam
saying
that the Cowboys.
That take 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
It was good. It was good that he finished off his podcast experience with telling us that the Cowboys lost. So Sam will no longer be on the podcast going forward. Everybody. It comes back to that little pouty face.
But the upside to Christmas was that the Chiefs lost. So that was
the Chiefs did
the
lose,
best part.
Yep.
Yes.
But the Cowboys getting smashed by the Dolphins was definitely the highlight.
We lost by 2 points. You guys lost by 6 to the Raiders. What are you talking about?
The Raiders are a great team. They have a phenomenal
stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
Stadium, a great stadium. Yeah. One of the best. They're hosting the Super Bowl. That means they must be doing something right. They have Devontae Adams. He's good.
Yeah.
And they have
on the skull I'm sharing.
They also have
no one.
They have their owner has a bowl cut. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the owner of the Raiders, Jim?
No, I'm just going to sit here and wait for you to finish this conversation.
He's Mark Davis. Yeah. Check out this stunner. I'm gonna have to upload it though. He's got some great hair. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say today.
Oh, so you made me hurry to get on this podcast just so you'd have nothing to say. Hey, Sam, have you not been offered one of these Matchroom contracts yet?
No, I have not, but Nate's been working on one of them for me. So I'm hoping I can get on that tour soon.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Nate must know what's in them then.
Yeah, that's that. Oh gosh.
Holy crap.
Oh gosh.
Wow, that's one unfortunate man.
Well, he's a billionaire.
Gosh. What is that? Is that
that's the guy who that's Mark Davis. He owns the Raiders.
It looks like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Like it's like one of the orcs if they cleaned up their life and got straight with Jesus.
Wow.
That's mean. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, Mark Davis. You're a great man.
Yeah, Mark, sorry if you're watching. We apologize. If you got nothing better to do with your Wednesday.
It gets better. Check this one out. It's even better. This is him happy.
Oh my gosh.
This is what you get here at the Q Network.
So Nate, do you know what's in the World Nineball Tour contract?
I have not seen one of the contracts, but I've seen Matt Poland put together a nice little post on AZ Billiards, which has a little bit of interesting stuff. Let's I don't know.
But is it his opinion or is it the truth?
Well,
I see a lot of opinions out there, and I see a lot of people demanding to get to see these contracts as if Joe Fan has the right to know a player's business on contracts and stuff. If somebody walked up to me in the street and says, "Can I see your employment contract?" I tell them to go mind their own business.
Well,
yeah.
The thing that really strikes me is this kind of line here that is pulled from the contract. Non-contract WPNPC players will only be permitted to enter a maximum of 2 Matchroom major via qualification in 1 calendar year, and only contracted WPNPC players will qualify for selection into invitational events.
Yeah, but that's not the contract. That is the entry criteria for Matchroom events.
Sure, yeah.
That's not the contract.
Sure. But the thing that I like about Matchroom is it has underneath that says subject to change. Yes. So they're at least open to the idea that, hey, maybe this isn't going to be perfectly accurate. It's going to be,
Well, no, these are all first drafts, aren't they? I mean, the ranking is now 2 years old, so the next step is what do they do with the 2-year ranking? And I mean, I would imagine they'll follow a little bit the snooker, the way the snooker is 128 players. 128 players will sign a contract. There'll be the pros, the qualified players for an entire period of time. So let's say a year. It could be 2 years, but I would say a year. And those 128 players are your top 128 professional pool players that get entry into all the open events directly. And then based on the ranking, you have the invitations to other events. And then I would imagine in the future, there'll be a sort of a Q school where some of the 128 will fall off at the end of the year and others will join via the Q school. And it'll be a rolling ball like that to try and just keep it freshening up and people have the opportunity to become one of the 128 players. So I would imagine that these contracts are going around. I would imagine there'll be 128 of them. Sure. That would just be a rough guess, 128.
Yeah.
I don't really think I don't think there's going to be much in the contract. There's people on Facebook talking about, the contract will be this and that, and it'll be telling players that they're not allowed to play in WPA events and stuff like that. I think that's nonsense. I don't think for 2 reasons that won't be in the contract, for 2 reasons. One, they're trying to get players to commit, I think, to the World Nineball Tour. So they're not going to put any language in it that is a little bit threatening because they don't want to scare players off. And the second reason is they don't need to, because as of the 1st of March, the WPA is going to do their dirty work for them. And as soon as the WPA turns around and says Shane Van Boning is not allowed to play in our events, then he's a Matchroom player, because what else is he going to do? I mean, Shane's going to commit and sign the contract anyway. But I don't really think there'll be much in it. I think it'll be a 2-week treat. It'll be a contract explaining what Matchroom is going to provide and what they expect from the players, like drug and alcohol policies and the events that they will enter, and it'll be the amount of majors, the amount of money that's in it. And I don't really think there's probably much in it. I think it's just a notice of commitment to the World Nineball Tour. And if you want to be one of the top 128 professionals, you're going to sign this. It's as simple as that. And the top 128 ranked players, there might be some that are in the 128 just now who say, you know what, I'm just going to stick with WPA just now, which is up to them. And it'll be the top 128 that want to be Matchroom players that will sign this, I would guess. Yeah.
Well, I've received a message from a reliable source that says they are not able to talk about the contract at all. So the players who are receiving these contracts.
Yeah, but we are.
Sure. And to be honest with you, I mean, there's somebody out there that would share the details with somebody, right? I mean, if I really wanted to find out, I would be able to find out. With that being said, I mean, if they're I don't know, if they're trying to hide it for a reason, it looks a little bit suspicious. But at the same time, like you said, Jim, if somebody came up to, I've had people come up to me and ask me like, "Hey, what is Jacoby doing for you for your podcast?" Or what is all of our sponsors, I guess. What are our sponsors doing for you? And the question I have to that is, well, why do you care?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. Well, if you're just curious, then go fly a kite, right?
Yeah.
Glad I said that because now I can bring our sponsors back up. But I mean, it's one of those things where like a contract is a contract and it doesn't have to be public, right? So if somebody came up to me and asked me that, I'd be like, you don't need to know, right? I mean, this is a contract that I negotiated with a second company that isn't interested in having that public, and I'm not interested in having it public. So why are you trying to make it public? It's one of those things that, like, if Matchroom came around and said to the players, we don't want you to tell anybody what we're talking about here and we're negotiating here, why do we have a right to see it? With that being said, I mean, if we really wanted to, Jim, we both could go get a contract and be able to read all of it and see whatever's there. I haven't done that, and I haven't done that because I haven't found interest in it. It's one of those situations to me where if it's being sent to a player and the player agrees to it, it can't be that bad, right? And if the players are agreeing to it and Matchroom is agreeing to it, then it kind of, can't be that bad on the other side either. So they're happy to see both sides of it. They're happy to agree to it. Good to go.
Yeah.
Good for you, Jim.
Chris is asking, will the players be restricted to just Matchroom events upon signing the contract? Like I said, I can't imagine that Matchroom would have anything in the contract restricting players. The WPA are going to do that for them.
Yeah,
they'll do the dirty work. I do know. Yeah, it's that kind of contract.
Well, Matchroom has already made it very clear that they're not trying to monopolize the game of pool. They're not trying to make it so they're the ones that are running everything. They're just trying to create their own tour, and they're having fun with their tour, and they're creating their tour, and they're not territorial about other tours. They're not out saying that no Matchroom player can play in a Predator Tour or a World Championship or anything like that. The only thing that they're saying is we're creating our tour. We're going to do it over here in the corner. If you want to partake in it, come on over. We'll welcome you with open arms. If you don't, see you later. Have a good day. Leave us alone. We're going to do our own thing. Yeah. It's the WPA. I mean, and whatever their negotiations as to how we got to that point, to where the WPA is getting to the point where they're blocking out players who play in Matchroom events. That's beside the point. That's already happened. We can go over that a million times again, but it doesn't change the fact that we are where we're at, and this is where we're going forward. So, Matchroom, the contract is pretty simple from what I've understood. It's not overly restrictive. It's not like to the point where saying, all right, you have to tie your shoes at 5 minutes into every match, and you can't blow your nose in between shots. You can't ask. It's just normal stuff. It's pretty normal stuff. So
yeah, and talking about the DCC, the only issue that I could see would be if Matchroom have one of their major events and it coincides with another tournament, and a contracted player decides to play the other tournament instead of the Matchroom event. But I don't really think that's going to be an issue. But
name the event. Well, hold on. Just because I think this is an interesting conversation. What event do you think would be put at the same time as a Matchroom event and wouldn't change? And wouldn't change.
You're not going to put. They're talking about Derby City in the comments. Matchroom would not be silly enough to put up a WNT match over the top of DCC. They wouldn't do it. So I don't think the DCC is an issue. But I don't know. Derby City Classic is not a WPA event either, is it?
Yes.
No. Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is. I think their 9-ball is.
So the only issue would be the WPA stopping players from playing that next year, not this year, because
essentially next year,
the 1st of March.
I think the 9-ball is. I think it has
2025 DCC.
I thought the Derby City Classic was on the Matchroom
because of the WPA,
tour.
not because of the DCC. Not because of the...
historically, I think it was on both. going forward, it's got to be on the WPA because of the restrictions for like the prize fund, right? Because like they give away too much money between their events that the WPA requires them to sanction with them, and it has X amount of players in the X amount of top whatever.
Yeah. Matt Paul's in there saying the DCC is in the WPA calendar, and Nick DeLone saying the 9-ball ranking points for Matchroom. Yes, but that'll only be this year, or that'll only be this next event.
And then
after
it's done,
that, it will have to be one or the other because they can't do both. Yeah. So it'll be 2025 that players will have to make it, or will not have to. A decision will be made for players whether or not they're allowed to play in the DCC or not. But that decision will come from the WPA, not from Matchroom. Matchroom are not, or they have stated, and again, they don't need to now because the WPA will do the dirty work for them. They are not going to restrict on where players can and cannot play. But the players will be restricted based on what the WPA have decided they're going to do. So whether or not Matchroom would have done that anyway or not is irrelevant because the WPA are going to do it for them.
So Sam, I guess as the residential player here who actually has a chance of going pro and wants to go pro, where are you falling down on this whole World Nineball Tour and I guess the WPA drama? Which side do you falling on?
I would definitely go with Matchroom. You know, I just think there's more of a future in the U.S. with Matchroom. With WPA, I don't think there's really too much of a future in the U.S. I think Matchroom is just the overall best option for an American player. Really, I don't know. I'm sure for Europe it's different, and there's more WPA events over there. But for an American,
they have the Euro Tour, right? But that each one pays 75 cents for first place.
Yeah, but it comes down to the funding that you get from certain countries or federations of funding, and the USA don't have that, so there's no financial downside.
In fact, the financial incentive for most of the U.S. players that are playing is tied to being on the Matchroom stage, right? Because I mean, imagine what Shane decides to go WPA route and never plays another Matchroom event. Do you think QTech is going to justify? Well, I mean, maybe he's a bad example just because he is Shane Van Boning, but maybe like a Sky Woodward. Is Sky Woodward's salary going to be as high as it is, whatever it is? None of it's our business, but is QTech going to want to pay him whatever they're paying him if he's not going to be on the biggest stage? I mean, if he goes to a match, I
don't know if it's a question of continuing paying him what they're paying him. His options of getting paid more become substantially greater by being on the world stage. The more and more these guys are on TV, and the more that the viewerships are coming in, the more that they can demand from sponsors. And not just Q sponsors. They can start demanding from clothing manufacturers. From all sorts of different stuff. It just makes more sense. Just a quick answer to Mike Panozzo. If Predator cuts ties with WPA for its PBS events, the WNT players can play, right? Yes, I don't see why they can't.
I'll tell you what, if that happens, well, the Predator Pro Billiard Series is winding down. I mean, they don't have nearly the advancements they were doing a couple years ago. I heard it's because basically Predator kind of got out over their skis a little bit with some stuff, and they're, to run at one of those, it's really expensive, especially with the amount of money they were giving away. It was crazy how much money they were giving away for how much they were probably bringing back. And obviously it's like a big marketing venture for them. They're looking at it as a way to expand their business, right? It's just good marketing when you see Predator plastered all over these events. But if you look at the WPA calendar and you remove the Pro Billiard Series, you got about 7 or 8 events, maybe across the entire calendar. Now, there's some pretty good ones in there, but those pretty good ones aren't going to be nearly as big as, let's say, the World Nineball or the U.S. Open, the European Open, the UK Open, stuff like that. I mean, you take the Pro Billiard Series out of the WPA, better be kissing Predator's butt right now to keep them with them.
Exactly, because they've got nothing. They've got very little without them as far as American pool goes. I mean, they've got all their hay ball and the rest of it. I mean, Jackie Diamond's in there saying they wouldn't be able to play anything but 9-ball if they sign. No, that's not. I don't think that's
because there's plenty of 10-ball events and 8-ball events that are ran by like the U.S. Open 10-ball, the U.S. Open 8-ball. I think those are actually.
You're only required to be sanctioned by the WPA if your prize fund is over a certain amount. or there's a certain amount of added money in your tournament. If you don't have that added money in your tournament,
or there's a certain amount of top players in it.
You don't need to go to
international
the WPA.
players.
You don't need to go to the WPA for sanction, and then anyone can play in it. The only people that will then get a cup of fuss are the WPA. The majority of it will be 9-ball. I mean, if you decide to go with the, like Sam said, he would go with Matchroom, then he's got to be prepared that 90% of the time on table is going to be spent playing 9-ball, and you pick off the occasional tournament at home that's not a WPA event and play some 10-ball, some straight, some one pocket, whatever, you know. But yes, as a professional player, your work will be 9-ball. But I mean, is that a problem? I mean, I don't know.
Well, Sam, you tell us. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's been said though that if you play in a Matchroom event, you can't play in WPA, right? Or that's after March.
After March.
After March the 1st, WPA are going to ban you if you play in any non-sanctioned events. But what they really mean is Matchroom. But in order there are rules that of requirement for you to need to be sanctioned by the WPA. One of them is the amount of the quality of the field. Another one is the amount of added money. So a standard tournament in the US, what's the added money at the Texas Open?
Across all divisions, I mean, it's got to be way. I would guess
I think it's
way more than 10,000.
I think it's
that's not enough for them to be required to be sanctioned by the WPA.
Yes,
no, it's not. No, it's not. 10,000 isn't enough.
I said it's way more than 10,000.
Okay, well then it's 20,000 added in 9-ball.
Just the 9-ball, yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to be required to be sanctioned, but I don't know if it's a WPA event. If you don't want to be required to be sanctioned, that's the way I see it going. I see, there you go. Minimum is 25,000 in any one single event. Yeah. So if you don't reach the 25,000 and say it's 20,000, you don't need to be sanctioned.
No. It's either that or there's a player requirement of like X amount of international players represented at the event. So that would easily break that threshold. The Texas Open, because they have players from all over Europe.
So it must be a WPA sanctioned event, then, is it?
I mean, according to that, it should be. Because I think it's like
six. I don't know. But anyway, you can play in anything you want that's not WPA sanctioned, basically, and Matchroom won't care. But WPA do care which events you play that are not theirs, it's going to be complicated, and there's going to be players that are going to end up turning up at events to find out that they're not allowed to play. There's going to be lists and lists of players that are sent to every single WPA event to say these players are not allowed to play. Who in the WPA is going to keep up track with that and look at every single Matchroom event and find out who registered and who actually played in order to add them to the list of players that can no longer play in their events? Who's going to do the paperwork, the bookkeeping on that? I have no idea, but yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the problem also with this WPA. I mean, and I'm just going to say this WPA crap is there is. I mean, when you watch what Molino Mike did over on the Windows Open podcast, when they brought on the president of the WPA, he basically said at this point, we have the option to reprimand a tournament or not. We have the ability to attack basically an event, or they don't have. It's up to their it's basically up to them as to who they're going to go after and who they're not going to go after. Mm-hmm. So WPA doesn't want to go after the Texas Open. And also Ed Ladawi said what I said was not true, that it's 50,000 or 25,000 and the other, but that's.
I thought there was it didn't matter on the players. There was a minimum added money.
Well, and this is where the WPA kind of just does whatever the hell they want, because on the podcast the president said basically that it has to be basically the 25,000, or they can go after an event for having too many nationalities of professional players there. Mm-hmm. I mean, now Ed is saying that that's not the case, but the president just said it on the podcast a couple months ago. The WPA just does not have any clear guidelines that they stick to. and that they actually express out to the rest of the players in the industry. We don't exactly know what the WPA. To this day, we don't exactly know, and that's why he had to go on twice and clean up what he said from the time before. Their marketing on their rules and what they expect of players is just absolutely bonkers, and nobody really has any freaking clue what the WPA does or intends to do. Why aren't they going after the Texas Open if they have this? Why aren't they going at other events across the calendar?
We'll see which events they end up targeting after the 1st of March.
Well, they better be targeting all of it.
To be honest, it might be they only need 2 events, and they've lost 200 odd players in 2 events. Let's say the UK Open is the first. I'm not sure if it is, but the UK Open will be close to being the first event after the 1st of March. There's going to be 256 players that get told you're finished with the WPA for the foreseeable future. Matchroom are just going to go, happy days, right? My top 128 are guaranteed for the rest of the year because they can't play anywhere else. Yeah. And the WPA have done all the dirty work for them and basically made sure that that 128 players will come to all the Matchroom events because they can't play anything else. There's no calendars, there's no scheduling issues anymore with calendars because they have to pick the Matchroom event now because they can't go to the WPA ones.
Well, yeah. I think you're ultimately going to start seeing a lot of events go to $24,999 added to get around the WPA.
Yes, just so they don't have to be sanctioned with the WPA. Yep.
And it's one of those things. You play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. The WPA thinks that everyone's going to get behind them, and it's going to, they're all going to unite against Matchroom. And I don't want to go and start attacking Matchroom, but if you're going to start announcing players as being on the World Nineball Tour, if they haven't made a huge splash so far. Jason is a great signing. Jason Shaw being the first one. From there, Billy Thorpe. When you're talking about the U.S. players, you're going to go through at least 4 or 5 players before you get to Billy. Could they have come up with a better?
But wait a minute. At the end of the day, it's the access they have to these players as well, And listen, the entire Mosconi Cup squad, shall we say? Let's say it's an 8-player squad at the moment. Players that could be in the Mosconi Cup. They're all going to sign it. They're all going to be on it. Anyone who's got the chance of playing Mosconi Cup is going to sign a contract. So all the American players are going to sign it. The majority of the Europeans, Jason's going to sign it.
I don't know that Tyler does.
Listen, at the moment. Like I said before, the USA get no funding, so it's a no-brainer for them to do the Matchroom, the WNT. British players don't get it, so Jason and Darren, that's a no-brainer. It's going to take them a bit of time, but there's going to be more and more of these people getting announced, and they have to have the access to them and talk to them first and get to actually sign the contract before they put anything out there. I don't see it as being. There was a question coming in here whether or not they were getting paid, whether they're getting travel expenses. I think it's a bit early for that. If you look at the snooker, the way the snooker works, I think everybody who makes it onto the top 128 seeded or ranked players or professional players for every calendar year or for every tour calendar, they get 20,000 in their pocket, and the rest they can win. Maybe we go somewhere there. I think one of the ways they go to is 128 players. There'll be no entry fees for them. I think that again, more sponsorship needs to come in, So, but I can't imagine they're ever going to cover people's travel costs. The idea is that the money is there to be earned, that you don't need your travel costs covered. You're going to make decent money, But I think it's very early. I don't think it's anything major in this contract. I don't think players are having their hands tied together. I think it's just a commitment of. Or a notice of commitment from the players that, do you want to be a World Nineball Tour professional player? You're ranked in the top 128. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they only do 32, maybe they do 64. I don't know. Do you want to guarantee that ranking for the rest of this season or for the entire season of 2024? And this is what we promise you with the number of major events, the amount of prize money that's going to be guaranteed for those all events, and you're guaranteed your spot. You will get, like Jason, you're in the top 8 seeds, so you're going to be in the Masters. You're going to be in the Premier League pool or Champions League pool, whatever it is, and that'll be part of his contract, I would imagine. As being a top 8 seeded player, this is your guarantee. Darren's might be slightly different because he's outside of what would qualify him for the invitation events. But he's guaranteed a seeding for every single major for the entirety of the year, something like that. I don't think there's anything weird. Really.
Well, this was kind of my problem with the players that they've signed so far, though. You have Jason Shaw, who's at his peak of his career. He's undoubtedly a top 10 player in the world, borderline top 5 player in the world. Great signing, perfect signing, amazing signing. From there, you have a 48-year-old Darren Appleton. Towards the end of his career. He might not be at the end of his career, but he's getting towards the end of his career. Is it going to hurt him if he doesn't get another World 8 ball or a World 10 ball or anything like that? No. He's already cemented his legacy. Could he add to his resume? Sure. But he's already going to be widely considered one of the greatest Q-ists of all time. At this point, there's no way that he's going to be able to, not have his career cemented as one of the greatest ever at this point. David Al-Qaeda's 45 years old. Again, towards the end of his career. Is he at the end of his career? Absolutely not. He's got a couple good years left, 5, 10.
He's just won a Matchroom major and the Mosconi Cup.
Okay, are you going to predict him to win one in 10 years?
I wouldn't have predicted him to win one last year, but he did. Look, at the end of the day,
what I'm saying is he's got 5 to 10 to 15 years.
The ranking's been going for 2 years. If you on the 2-year ranking are a top 128 player, you have deserved to be signing a contract to say you are now a Matchroom professional pool player, because that's what it's all about.
That's my point.
It doesn't matter what age you are, what you've done before, if you're over the hill or not. I'm in the top 128. Give me the contract. I want to be a Matchroom.
Yeah, but Jim, you're not letting me finish out my point, right? So you're signing a 48-year-old player, a 45-year-old player. Jason's in the prime of his career, but he's still 35. And then you're signing a US 27-year-old who kind of goes in and out of playing with the weather, seemingly, right? Those are the 4 players that are on your books right now. You're telling me that you couldn't get a Shane, you couldn't get
these are the guys. Okay, put it this way: these are the guys that have been announced so far.
Sure. What I'm saying is, if you're going to start, I'm looking at this from like a marketing aspect. You want to stick it straight to the WPA. You want to stick it straight to them. Get those players out that are going to actually make a dent. In my mind, right now, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but Jason is really the only player on there that the WPA is going to be like, oh crap, that hurts. A 45-year-old David Al-Qaeda, while he's still playing some of the best, probably the best pool of his career, and he's, like I said, he still has 5, 10, 15 years, I would say 5 to 10 years minimum of high-level pool. The WPA is not going to be like, oh crap, that's really going to hurt us for a while.
Who says this has to be something that hurts the WPA? This is Matchroom building something.
Because this, but that's everything right now. That's the war.
I don't think it is. I don't think Matchroom give a crap about what the WPA are doing. I really honestly don't think they're even looking over their shoulder interested. They're building their own thing. They've tried to go with the WPA. I don't think they care about the WPA. Do you think Barry Hearn is actually sitting there thinking, what can we do they've already won this little battle against the WPA. They've already shown that it's not going to stop them. They're just going to keep going.
I just don't agree.
I think this is just something that's just keeping everybody watching. It's keeping everybody involved. All these players are going to. Shane's going to get announced. Sky's going to get announced. They're all going to be there. The one that's going to. And somebody mentioned it here. The ones that are going to be interesting to see is a decision that German players and Polish Federation players make.
And
Those
Austria.
are the ones that are going to be the interesting ones
and
to
Austria.
see. I don't think Austria's going to be a problem. I think the top guys, I think Lechner, Albin, and Mario, I think they will take it. You have other players that are slightly underneath that maybe for them it's a little bit of an issue. But it's going to be interesting to see which way these guys falls, and everyone's just waiting to see what happens with Filler. Everyone's waiting to see what Filler does. I mean,
we're not privy to what's going on behind the scenes. I'm just looking at this as like, you think that Matchroom doesn't care at all about the WPA or trying to? I think you're crazy. I think you're absolutely crazy.
I think Matchroom have a very limited interest in anything that the WPA has to say from now.
Publicly, I agree, but behind the scenes, I just don't agree. I don't agree.
Well, then we disagree. I honestly, I don't think Barry Hearn. I don't think Barry Hearn or Matchroom are the kind of people, the kind of group of people that look over their shoulder and see what's going on behind them. They've decided to go with this, and they'll just keep going. I agree with that.
But I mean, sure. But I mean, I guess there's zero doubt in my mind that Sky's going to sign, Shane's going to sign. Alvin, I thought probably potentially could, but FSR, Jason, Darren, the top players that are out there outside of Germany, Poland, I have zero doubt that they're going to sign. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But
the Asian players will be interesting to see which one of the what happens with the Asian players with the other contracts they have with Joy and all that kind of stuff.
From what I'm saying is, why couldn't Matchroom make sure that one of these players, if not all of these players, were the first players announced? Just from a marketing standpoint, it seems to me to make
maybe they're just waiting for the contracts to come through. Maybe Shane's had his contract for 3 weeks now and he's just a lazy fuck and he's gone fishing instead of signing it and sending it back. You don't know.
You don't think that somebody at Matchroom can reach out to him and say, Shane, get this done immediately. If you have interest in doing this, take a look at it and get it back to us by this date because we really want to go forward with the marketing of having you.
Again, you don't. Again, this is, I mean,
we don't know. We're speculating, right?
We're not privy to what's in these. It's not public what's in these contracts and how it's been addressed and how it's been handled between the players and Matchroom. Yeah. All we know is that Sam hasn't been given one yet.
Sam hasn't been given one yet, but we got to get him one, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Sam, jump in. What do you think?
I was looking at the comments. Can you guys say something? Hold on, I don't know if I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, yep, we're good. I lost a little bit. But anyways, I was looking at the comments and I saw Mike Pinozzo. He mentioned, like, these guys are probably having their contracts looked over, especially the top pros. They're probably having them looked over because they don't know what's the best path yet.
I mean, they don't have to.
They probably believe, it's Matchroom, but they kind of want to see what everyone else wants to do and see what their best option is.
I mean,
there's probably a lot of players that are sitting back and, I'm just going to hold off and see who else signs this and see what's, leave it to the last minute.
And maybe they're waiting for the Matchroom schedule to come out, right?
Well, it is out now, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of my point, though, right? Maybe they were waiting for it, and now we're just a matter of getting everybody's graphics made and the posts scheduled. And
but I agree. The ones that have come through just now, they were no brainers anyway. There's no surprises here. There's no wow factor to them. We all knew.
Well, I would say Billy was a bit of a surprise for me.
He's not. He's a Mosconi Cup player who's in the top 128 on the world ranking. How's that a surprise?
I mean, if there's it's not a surprise that he signed. It's a surprise to me that he was the first American signed. How's that?
Well, okay, maybe he's just the first one that said, "Oh, there it is. I'll sign it and send it back." And they go, "Okay, right, we'll announce it." He's still a big name. He's a big name within Matchroom because he's played. He's won the Mosconi Cup twice. He's one of the few Americans that's got a couple of Mosconi Cups in his pocket.
Also, where are you saying? You said the Matchroom schedule is out now. Where's the Matchroom schedule at?
I saw it was in some document that probably shouldn't have been made public.
Okay, so it's not out.
Well, it is out, but I don't know if it's out because Matchroom put it out. I'll send it to you. It was in a magazine, I think, and I think it might have been a mistake. But hold on a second.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't question you to begin with, but then I went and looked while you were saying it. I haven't seen it. I mean, unless it came out recently. I should say I haven't seen it publicly.
It's in the. I've sent it in the podcast page, podcast messenger. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not a full schedule.
No, it's not completely filled in, but at least.
No, because I know of at least 2 more events that aren't on here that are going to be there.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that there will be 12 majors this year. So
yeah, which is the 2 more because there's 10 public. Yep. So
there's another couple come. 10 majors, prize fund, $4 million.
Sam, how much of that are you going to win?
Just saying, the money's getting bigger.
I don't know. Probably not a lot of it, or any of it, but hopefully some of it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you just put a few balls now and again, and you'll be guaranteed 20,000 in December.
Yeah.
Surely. Come on.
I'm hoping that would be nice.
Well, you want to know how to do better at events and be even more likely to make money?
How's that? Play more of them?
Oh, God, that's stinky stuff.
Like getting yourself some magical. Jim, stop saying bad things about the sponsors to our podcast. You have 2 of them on the way, by the way.
Oh, goody.
You will love them. You got to get yourself some Magic Mind. This is my shot I took today. Makes you feel all prim and proper, gives you nice levels of focus, good levels of energy, but not that like jittery energy. It's just natural energy. It's nice.
And you also start growing hair on the underside of your feet.
Jim, we're never gonna get another sponsor to this podcast ever again.
Well, you're not sponsoring me, is it? What do I care?
Well, you're getting some on the way.
So hey, I got a question for Sam then.
Okay.
Let's say you've got an idea in your head of
how are you trying to skip out of my ad? I'm trying to do an ad right now, Jim.
All right, I'll go then.
Yeah, go out of here. If you don't have anything nice to say, then get the heck away. Sam, you should get yourself some Magic Mind because it's awesome. It's got
what does it do for me?
Natural ingredients.
Okay.
That help you with your focus, your memory. It helps you sleep better. It reduces the need for coffee, which means less jittery. Okay. All that good stuff. What else does it do? It makes me more productive, more focused, allows me to sleep better, have less anxiety and less stress. I'm able to be more creative, and I feel way better in the mornings, and I'm happier throughout the day thanks to its adaptogens that boost your mood and help you relax. Honestly, it's actually pretty, I'm kind of sounding like Reedy right now, but it actually is pretty dope.
Do you use it a lot?
I do.
You
yeah,
do use it.
I actually bought some after I tried it for like the second time. I actually went and bought some. Went and used my discount code at magicmind.com/QItUp and used my discount code QItUp20 to get myself 50% off my subscription for the next 10 days. Well, during that next 10 days. So I actually spent my own money on this because I actually really enjoy it. So I don't know. It's fun. It is very legal, Tracy. Oh, is it legal? Yeah, it's legal. Why not? Raymond uses a lot of the same ingredients in his supplements that he said to you when we did this ad yesterday. He said that he actually takes a lot of these on the side as part of his supplements. So that's kind of cool. So I would recommend it to you, Jim, because it helps with your mood, and you'll stop being such a grumpy guy, and you'll stop having bah humbug on your hat. You'll actually have nice things.
Does it make you less repellent to women?
Yes, because it stops making you so grumpy. Oh. So maybe you should try it.
Wow.
Maybe it'll make you feel less grumpy.
Can I ask someone a sensible question now then?
Nope, not yet. If you would like to try it yourself, you can go to magicmind.com/QItUp and use discount code QITUp20. And you can get 50% off your subscription for the next 10 days with my code. Again, QITUp20. Just go to magicmind.com/QItUp.
Why didn't you make it QITUp 50 if it's 50% discount?
Because we don't like you.
Yeah. A shot of Jack does the same thing. Bang Bang Polos.
Why?
Jägermeister does exactly the same.
Why, Jim? Because this code will be valid forever as a 20% off for both one-time purchases and subscribers. But the first 10 days, it's 50% off if applied to a subscription.
Sam's manager's going full out here.
Yep.
Sam's manager's on there. It's his mum.
So there you go. Head over there and grab your subscription now and support the podcast because they support us. So you should support them. Okay, Jim, ask your stupid question.
Right. So, Sam, let's say you've got a 3-year plan with getting yourself into the Moscone Cup.
Okay.
Which coach would you pick? I mean, we've been going on about over the last couple of podcasts since the Moscone Cup saying it might be, not saying it is, but it might be the end for Jeremy as far as coaching the team. You've been around a bit. You've spoken to. I'm sure you've had a lot of information given to you from different players of a higher stature or coaches at a top level. Who do you think would be your pick if you got to choose the guy that's going to get the best out of you personally in a team atmosphere in a Mosconi Cup? Who are you going for?
If I were to pick a captain.
The one that you think would be most suited for you, if you were going to, in 3 years' time, you're the rookie, you're going to be on that team. Who would you think would be somebody that would get the best out of you?
Well, definitely not Nate.
All right.
Nate, finally a proper question, and you go and throw the kid off. You're supposed to be helping his career.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Sorry. Welcome back, Sam.
There's a lot of former players that would be good. Like I see Ed Ladawi, he said Dennis Hatch, but he'd be a really good option. I mean, I saw what Johan did with the team, and he got the team in shape to win the cup twice. There's a lot of guys like Oscar Dominguez. I think he'd be a good captain. They mentioned Scott Frost. I don't know. I like personally, I would think, Jeremy Jones wasn't bad, but just didn't get the results, I guess, I would have to say Johan, Scott Frost, Oscar Dominguez. I mean, that's my,
Is there anybody out there who's had quite a positive impact on you personally, on your career?
Not entirely.
I don't know what the junior scene is like. Is there somebody who looks after the juniors? I mean, you played in the big junior tournaments, the US Amateur or the US Junior Championships. Is there anyone that's always there looking after the juniors, keeping an eye on everybody?
The BCA cares about the juniors for exactly as long as it takes for them to run the BEF, and then they stop caring about them completely.
Okay.
Yeah, I
mean, I don't care if you don't like that, Ed. It's true, damn it. Go ahead.
But anyways, no, not really. I mean, I've had like an instructor like Anthony Beeler, but he's more of like a playing instructor, not more of the mental side of the game. I think the U.S. needs like somebody that can help with the mental side of the game, like Johan.
Yeah.
So I mean, Scott Frost seems like he would do a decent job. I mean, I'd like to see him get a shot at it, just to see what could happen.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it is certainly. I mean, it's a short period of time that you're looking after these guys. I think the mental side of it is where you win or lose the cup.
Yeah.
Not the playing side. You don't need to tell these guys how to pop balls.
I mean, if you watched the Mosconi Cup, I mean, just Team Europe they were having fun. Team US looked like they were just sitting in the chair, like they had a sad face on the entire time. It almost seemed like, except for Sky, he's asking for a beer while he's playing. But
that's when you're just trying to get through it and you're trying to have as much fun with it as you can.
But we all know that winning is always more fun than losing when you're.
I understand that, but at least try to be in a good mood,
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the beer's for. If he'd had Magic Mind, he wouldn't have had to worry about it because he'd already been in a good mood.
Yeah, let's see them chug a full half a liter of that. Chug a pint of Magic Mind. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, they might play better. It's good for focus. No, I actually like Lee McBride. I mean, I haven't heard that one before. I think D. Atkins would be a great addition. Derek said, why not Mark Wilson? Mark Wilson already had his chance. He was coach for 4 years, and went 0 for 4 and never was competitive. So, I mean, I don't know how much, Jim, you've been to a lot more of them than I have, but I've been to 6 Mosconi Cups now. And I don't know how much a coach can do to win it, but I do think a coach can lose it. And what I've seen from Jeremy is that he's closer to losing it than he is winning it. Johan was about the best that I've seen. Mark Wilson was kind of in the same vein as JJ for what I'm seeing.
It's like anything else. I mean, you can look back at the coaches that have been there in the time that I've been going. The only one that I thought The only American coach that I thought that's just a bit of a waste of time was CJ Wiley. I think Mark Wilson has a lot to offer within the US pool world. Yes, he lost it 4 times in a row, but with a completely different team and a completely different generation. It was a completely different Europe back then as well. There's nothing to say that he can't be successful with a different team. You know, it's like in any sports. You see managers and coaches of top soccer teams. They fail at one team, but they go to another team and they're very successful. So I mean, the coach the coach is very specific for that particular group of players you have. And just because it didn't work with one group of players doesn't mean to say it wouldn't work with another group of players. So I mean, I wouldn't say Mark Wilson he's had his chance and he should never get the chance again. I think he still has a lot to offer, and he's a very intelligent, knowledgeable guy. You know,
that's definitely true.
But again, it'll, you know, Matchroom they'll get their applications in for the job and they'll make a decision. Or they just, like they did with Ralph Elkert, they just go out their own and say, "Do you want it?" You know, he didn't apply for it. He was just asked if he wanted it, and he said yes. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Okay, interesting to hear the, you know, because Sam's one of the guys that gets talked about as maybe not, you know, within the next couple of years, but somebody who should, you know, be pushing that Mosconi Cup team in the next 5 years or so, certainly. I mean, what are you now? 700 plus, 720, something like that?
Yeah, I'm a 720. Yep.
683.
Yeah. So, I mean, Greg Hogue almost made it. He was only 1 round away from making it on a 699, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying there's a chance.
Play the events. That's all you can do. You just got to play the events and put yourself out there, you know? And you've got, are you over your fear of flying now, or did you just kind of put up with it for a few hours?
Honestly, like, through these past few months, I think I'd rather fly than drive now. Honestly,
Awesome.
I get more stressed out when my mom is driving over being in a plane.
Is it because it's your mum, or you don't like female drivers?
I don't know. I get stressed out in the
Be
car.
careful, you're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, careful what you say, Sam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mum is very active. She comes to your events with you, yeah?
Yeah, she comes to all of them. Yep.
Yeah,
the only one she
cool.
didn't come to was the International Open, but she had prior commitments.
Yeah, but that must be quite nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mums are always our biggest fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Nate, when are you going to play a tournament again?
Honestly, that's a pretty good question. I think that I'm going to play sometime.
Okay.
You should sign up for the U.S. Open.
I should.
You
Cannon
should.
fodder.
What you say a mean thing, Jim?
Just saying. Oh, Stuart Rogers, why do you have to write a book? Real coach, you got a bunch of...
While Jim reads this, we'll never mind.
No, I don't. I mean, Stuart. I'm sorry. I read that he's suggesting that the Reyes Cup will be some sort of a replacement for the Mosconi Cup. That'll never happen. Mosconi Cup will always be the flagship event. It'll always be the major, regardless of what the results are. And I don't see anything replacing the Mosconi Cup. The Reyes Cup will be a nice thing. It'll be an extra thing for the calendar, but it won't be a replacement.
Well,
it's like golf. You've got the Ryder Cup, and then you've got the one that's the rest of the world against USA. What's that called? I didn't even know that was a real thing. Yeah, exactly. And it's Ryder Cup is golf.
We don't even beat Europe in the Ryder Cup anymore. We get smashed in that too.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a pause so we can hear from our newest sponsor, Sam Henderson Airways.
Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
Oh, Sam, you've dogged that. Did you make that public? Oh, you've dogged it, kid. Oh, you've got so much to learn.
I hate you, Nate. I hate you very much. Oh. Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
Oh no! Oh god! Oh, what a rookie mistake that was.
I should have never sent that video to you. I think that was before my first flight in like.
Before you went to Austria, yep.
It was before I went to Austria. Yep, we were about to leave to go to Chicago. Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
But listen. It
gets better every time.
You've got to be a little bit weird to want to become a professional pool player. So it's good. It's good that you're showing your weirdness to everybody.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, was that one of those magic drinks, Magic Mind?
Yes. I think
he
I
drank a
had one
Magic Mind, and he was out. And then he was 10 minutes later, he was out in his back garden, pretend to be an airplane.
Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
I'll never get old.
Oh my god!
Have you got the one of his mum jumping off that building? That was pretty ballsy. That was seriously ballsy. There's no way you're getting me doing that.
Yeah. I think I would rather, because the deal was she jumped off the stratosphere and I would fly to Austria. I think I would fly to Austria 100 times before I jumped off the stratosphere.
Oh no! Yeah, I don't care if you're my son or my brother or my dad or whoever. I ain't jumping off a building for you. Forget it.
Yeah. I was just standing on the ground because I was looking up at her because we got the stand right next to the landing pad, and I was like, oh my god, please don't like splat right next to me. That would be terrible. I was freaking out. I think I might have been more nervous than she was. I get stressed out easily.
You know what'll help you with your stress?
Oh my god.
Magic Mind. It helps you with your stress and your focus. So it'll help you when you do something really dumb like this.
No. Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
When you do something really dumb like that, it won't stress you out as much.
Imagine how viral that video is going to go when Sam gets announced for his rookie Moscone Cup.
Oh my god! Nate's gonna put it in the comments.
This is the guy that you just selected.
I'll just hand deliver it on a flash drive to Matchroom and just say, here.
Yeah, this is
you
all
can
you
thank
need.
Me later. You'll thank me later.
You don't need all these special promo videos. We've got one already made for you.
Oh my god!
Oh, like those. You ever see like those dubstep like videos of like a kid will run into like a wall or something like that, and they take that sound of him running into the wall and they make a song out of it?
Yeah.
I need to do that with that video. Yeah. Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, so
what else we got?
I don't know. I guess we've talked pretty at length about. Hey, it's Cookie.
Cookies, Cookie.
I don't know. I guess we've talked about this. I guess what's your guys' prediction going forward of the WNT versus the WPA calendar? Based off of all these players that are signing, I mean, there's only a few of them right now. But Sam, what do you think it's going to look like come March 2nd?
I think a lot of the top names are going to be signing with Matchroom for sure. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with Joshua Filler or even Tyler Steyer. You know, I want to know what Tyler's going to do, you know, or what Josh is going to do. Those are two of the, well, Tyler's probably the biggest one in the U.S. That's a question mark. And
probably the only one in my mind.
Yeah.
Why would you say he's a question mark?
Well,
I mean,
he's with
I don't
Predator,
think it is a question mark, but if there is a player who might be a question mark, I would say it's him. I still think he signs.
Yeah, I do think he signs too, but he's one of those. I just kind of seems like a question mark. But I'm wondering if WPA will change what they're doing and kind of take back their if you play in Matchroom, you're not allowed to play with us. I'm wondering if they'll change any of that. That's my biggest question.
Are you saying that as a general question, or do you think it's actually going to happen?
I mean, I think it could happen. You know, I think they're going to lose a lot of players. You know, I mean, I think it'd be the smartest option for them to, you know, change what they're doing and actually allow people to play in both instead of try to control everything.
And I guess to Stuart Rogers' comment, they're not getting any money. Of course they're not getting any money, but what they are getting is the opportunity of money. And I know that Stuart is with the WPA, so I guess I'll frame that by saying, what ultimately you gotta weigh your options, right? If you think that the Matchroom isn't going to be any money, sure, but what is the WPA going to offer up? Because they're not paying salaries to any of these players either, and they have half the events and half the prize money. So one of them's offering a potential career playing the game, and the other one is offering what? Hayball, the China Open, whatever Predator Pro Billiard Series does. There's not a ton out there, and they're all going to be.
The difference is, I think the WPA they do everything. You know, so when they come up with figures of the amount of money that will be in the events over an entire year, it's everything included, and it's stuff that. It's stuff that a lot of the players don't even compete in and have never competed in. You know, there's a lot of the top players that never play hayball, so they don't care about a hayball.
No, and they never will play it either.
And they never will play it, so they don't care. But that money gets added into the pot that the WPA say this is how much money.
Same with one pocket. Same with
whereas
the one pocket events.
Whereas Matchroom are going to announce like $4 million worth of prize money just for 9-ball. You know, so yeah.
And it's fine that the WPA is not.
Stuart's in there saying that the WPA are not promoters, and people need to understand that. No, we completely understand that what Matchroom does and what the WPA does is night and day. It's two completely different things. And
WPA,
I still believe that. I still believe that the WPA have a critical part to play for our sport throughout the world. I just feel that what Matchroom, I don't see Matchroom as competing against the WPA. I don't understand. A lot of people think it's Matchroom against WPA. I just think Matchroom are concentrating on something that the WPA have neglected over the years, and that is just purely the professional aspect of the sport. WPA are great and get you know, the federations give funding to players who want to come through and they want to start to become professional pool players. But what is at the end of it? It can't be just 2 or 3 events in a year. That just doesn't work. It has to be a proper professional tour, and that's. I
cannot even disagree with that statement even more. Like, hayball is going to be huge. I cannot disagree with that more. I mean, who in the U.S. is going to ever play hayball or Europe? Jim, I mean, there's no way that hayball ever takes on any sort of popularity in the U.S. Do you think it has a chance in Europe?
No.
0 chance, right?
No.
Is it going to be huge in Asia? Sure. Of
course, but that's it. But yes, hayball will be huge, and there'll be a lot of money in hayball, but people are going to have to go to Asia to play it.
Yeah, there's 0 chance it's going to make any sort of headway in the U.S. or Europe, in my mind.
No.
But
there's too many other within Europe. There's too many other cue sports that people are just, you know, whether they're stuck in their ways or they just, you know, there's too many different cue sports out there. There's too many different variations. There's too much to compete against. If you ask the pool clubs in America or the pool clubs in Europe, can you get rid of 6 of your 9-ball tables and put in hayball tables? They're all going to turn
0 chance.
Because they can't make money from
recreational. Most of them are 7-footers anyway. So who's going to want to go from a 7-footer to a 9-foot?
They can't make money from recreational players because the game's too difficult, and the recreational players are going to give up because no recreational player
can't pot a ball
who is going to enjoy playing if they can't make a ball. It's
what is Hayball?
Hayball is Chinese 8-ball.
with
Okay.
It's basically snooker with essentially it's snooker with 8-ball
No, it's 8-ball on a slightly smaller snooker table.
Yeah. Not quite as small as snooker, but pretty close to snooker size pockets, right? Essentially, and the balls basically fit in like with a quarter to a half an inch on each side. Not even a half an inch, about a quarter of an inch. Yeah, it's literally like playing 8-ball on a snooker table. But I don't know. I think it might be a fun thing let's go through the WPA calendar. So this is obviously 2024's calendar, but let's look at the calendar, and I guess let's speculate. Do you think that this event is going to be on the WPA calendar come 2025? So the Turning Stone Classic. What do you think, Jim? Yes or no?
No.
Sam?
No.
I also say no. The Derby City Classic. Jim?
No.
Sam?
I don't know. I don't know what the Derby City Classic will be.
I don't think. I mean, if any of these events, if I'm running them and I'm just on the cusp of whether I need the WPA or not, I'm going to walk away from the WPA because I want my players to be there.
I would say no as well. The Indonesia International Open, probably. So that's January. So one event through January. The World Artistic Pool Championships. Does anybody care?
No.
Have you ever tuned in to see the World Artistic Pool Championship, Jim?
No.
Okay, me either.
I wouldn't even, and that's not even a choice. I just don't know where I would even go to find it.
Yeah. The Euro Tour, the Dynamic Billiard Tallinn Open.
Yeah, that'll be
men
WPA.
and women. Yep.
That'll be WPA because it's EPBF. Yeah.
The 2025, the PBS Las Vegas Open.
Yes.
Probably. I mean, unless Predator decides that they don't want to go with the WPA, yeah, I would think it would be. The World 10-Ball Championships.
Yep, same thing.
So 4 events through February. The Joy Highball Master Grand Finals.
What is that?
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah.
So there's one event in March. So there's 5 through March.
But yeah, who's going to play in that?
A bunch of players that you have no idea how to pronounce their names.
Yeah, but yeah, from the American pool side of it, who's going to play in it?
Okay, so then April, a Euro Tour.
All the
European Championship.
All the Euro Tours will stay with WPA because of EPBF.
The European Tour and the Euro Championships are basically back to back. So it's a 2-week long event. So basically, we'll say 6 events through 4 months.
Yeah, but the European Championships, there's zero money to be earned at the European Championship. Yeah. So it's nice for the European Championships is great for players coming through because you get the chance to become a European champion. That'll and get you more sponsorship deal from your federations. Some of the federations, you will get more national funding if you medal at a European Championship. So there is a financial incentive there for some, but for most players, it's just the honor of becoming a European champion.
Yep. And then the Qatar Open in May, and then
great.
the Joy Hayball International Open in Qatar, back to back. Okay, so we're now through May, so we're 5 months into the year, and we have the players realistically. There's been 2 Euro Tours and then the 1 European Championship. So those are basically $0 that you're making from that. Even if you win it, you're making like 1,500 to 2,000 euros. You get 3rd place, you broke even. Congratulations. There's basically 2 events, maybe 3 events in there that are actually have the potential for you to make money. 5 months into the year, and you have the potential of making like 4,000 USD. Maybe the Qatar Open, that's going to be a lot more money. So I shouldn't say that. But the Qatar Open and the Pro Billiard Series, the Las Vegas Open, are the only events so far that you have the chance of making money, unless you win the highball tournament. Good luck.
Yeah. Just a quick answer to Ryan Harmson. He's saying, will the World Championships have less prestige if all players aren't allowed to play because of the ban? This year's World Championships, or 2024 World Championships will take place before March the 1st. So everybody will be allowed to play in it. After that, if the bans start coming in, Matchroom will just turn around and say, we're not doing a WPA World Championships, and it will be then a World Nineball Tour World Championships. And so the prestige will not be lost. The prestige will be lost for any WPA World Championships, whether they take it back to the desert to play again with one live stream that doesn't work. But that's where the prestige will be lost with the WPA World Championships. The Matchroom World Championships will be the World Championships.
So I shouldn't have stopped that soon, because there was 0 things in June. So halfway through the year, you have 2 opportunities to make money if you're a professional pool player with the WPA schedule. 2. You have 2: the Qatar Open and the Predator Pro Billiard Series, the Las Vegas Open and the World Nineball. You have 2 opportunities to make money in the first 6 months out of the year. Don't give me the Euro Tours. Don't give me the European. Obviously, don't even give me the European Championship, because that's 0. Don't give me a Euro Tour. You're not making money at a Euro Tour. You have absolutely no chance of making money in the first 6 months. Because it's I guess, Stuart, I'm not trying to attack you here, but like 750,000 USDs for a first prize in highball. Well, these players have spent their entire career learning how to play one game: 9-ball, 10-ball, 8-ball. These other players who are playing highball for their entire careers have been playing it for their entire careers. I mean, it's not. There's a reason that no, English 8-ball players or 9-ball players are going and playing snooker, right? It's just a different game. It's you can't just dedicate your entire life to learning how to play one game and then just immediately switch over and be like the best player in the world at a different game. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, we don't want hayball. We want
9-ball.
pool. We want American pool.
Yeah,
that's it. You could just turn around and say, why not join the snooker tour? I mean, hayball is a different game.
Why not just go over and play golf? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've spent your entire life playing one game. I mean, Sam, if somebody told you tomorrow that you have to go play hayball and you can never play 9-ball again because there's no money in it, what would you say?
No.
This is the game you like, right?
Yeah.
It's the game you chose to play. You didn't choose to play snooker. You didn't choose to play bloody basketball. You didn't. We want to see pool played on a 9-foot American table, and if it's 9-ball, it's 9-ball. If it's 10-ball, it's 10-ball. I don't care. We're not here to watch hayball. This is not what we want to do. And not withstanding the fact that that's $750,000 How long do the players have to wait to get paid it in the first when they win it anyway? Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you're right. It is a choice, but it's a choice that the players shouldn't have to make. They shouldn't have to say, all right, well, I'm never going to make any money by playing this over here, when there's an actual company that is trying to make it feasible for you to do that. Exactly. And you're going to go away from the company that is actually trying to increase prize funds and then, increase events. And we're going to say, well, all right, screw that company that's actually trying to work towards the future of this thing. Let's just go with what's available now, when you don't know that money's going to be there in 5 years. I mean, I've never even heard of Chinese 8-ball until 4, 5, 6 years ago. And of course, the prize money now is incredible. That's awesome. But who's to say it's going to be there in 5 years?
Yeah, and it shouldn't be the case that if you want to make money, go and play a different game. No, this is the game they play, and we want somebody to come in and say, now you're going to be rewarded for playing the game that you play. Yeah.
Stuart, you're right.
You're right, Stuart, and that's the problem. And the WPA have done that. You've basically just made our point. When has anyone but the top 8 to 16 players ever made any money? That is exactly the reason.
The Matchroom is going away from the WPA.
Come in and do it. You've just basically said what the problem is, and who has done that? Who has done that? Who's been in charge for all these years while only the top 8 to 16 players made any money? We want it to be different.
I mean, I just went through a seemingly 2025 schedule, and we're halfway through the year. We can continue going. We're halfway through the year, and there's 2 opportunities for players to make real money outside of hayball. I mean, and then if your response to that is, well, get good at hayball, then I'm going to say, well, then actually don't care about the players. I mean, that's our problem with the WPA.
You're telling the players that you know, they have to change the game they play in order to make money. Sure, I'd love to hear from you who you think is responsible for the fact that only the top 8 to 16 players ever made any money.
Well, let's keep going through the theoretically 2025 WPA schedule. So now we're into July. The 2024 Joy Hayball International Open in Vietnam. More Hayball. EPBF, Dynamic Billiard European Championship Youth Tournament. So it's not even another Euro Tour. It's just the youth. So there's, again, 0 more opportunities in July for men to make money. A Euro Tour in August. A Joy Hayball International Open in Indonesia. Another Euro Tour stop, and then Turning Stone. We don't think Turning Stone's going to be there, so basically there's 2 more Euro Tours all the way through August. Again, no chance to make money, so we're not even going to acknowledge that those exist. Let's go to September. The New Zealand Open and the Women's World Nineball Championship. Cool. Good opportunity for women. It's good. It's good to know that this is the first women's event on the schedule in September.
Nate,
there's a couple of Euro Tours. What
is the International Open WPA or is that Matchroom?
We'll find out next year.
I thought it's
WPA, but it has been used for ranking points for Matchroom.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll find out next year for the first time. And then we have the WPA 9-ball China Open, another real event for players to make money. So that's the third opportunity for players to make money through September. Let's look at October. The Men's World 8-Ball Championship, another chance for players to make money. The fourth opportunity. The International Open, is that going to be there next year? I don't think that they will be. I think that they'll choose Matchroom. I could be wrong, but let's even give them that. There's the fifth opportunity for players to make money. Let's go to November. A Euro Tour, nothing. The Puerto Rican Open and the 8-Ball Team World Championships and the 8-Ball Championship. All right, there's another one. So now there are 6 opportunities for players to make money. And let's go to December. Nothing on the calendar for December. So you're telling me the WPA schedule that has 8 opportunities to actually make money, because I'm not giving you any credit for the Euro Tour when you win it and make $1,500 US. There are 8 opportunities for players to make money and 2 opportunities for women to make money. An entire calendar. And that's the WPA's answer to professional pool.
But that's what I mean. When you put all the Hayball money in there, then it's quite a big pot. But you're asking players to then go and play a different game.
A completely different game. A fundamentally different game.
It shouldn't be a case of you have to play a different game to make money. You should be rewarded for being good at the game that you play. And that's what Matchroom are looking to do.
Yeah, I mean,
how many of those?
Oh. And if they really wanted to make money, wouldn't they just go to snooker? I mean, snooker is it's probably a little bit easier of a game than Chinese 8-ball. I mean, they're close.
Not for these guys. The guys have tried it before. You know, snooker is.
Well, that's my point, right? If it was that easy, they would be, because there's more money in snooker than there is in Chinese 8-ball right now. Maybe it's close, but they're about the same.
Yep.
I mean, if you could do it, you would do it.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not the right way to look at it, to say to players, well, there is money for you, you just have to learn a different game. That's not. Yeah,
make a choice, right? I mean, I'm sorry, Stuart. You're a great dude, and we've had a lot of conversations in the past. I'm not trying to attack you here. I respect the work that you do in this industry. I mean, you do a lot of really great work in this industry, but that can't be a real response to a player who's trying to play 9-ball, 8-ball, one pocket, bank pool, whatever it is. I've played snooker and Hayball. Not a lot, but I've played probably 6 games of snooker, and I've played probably 50 racks of Hayball. They're brutal games. They're absolutely brutal games, and they're fundamentally different. I mean, you can't. 9-ball players are so conditioned to shoot balls down the rail, to hit the rail going into the pocket. I mean, the center of if you have the ball just off the side cushion, or the long rail cushion, you're conditioned to actually hit the rail within the first diamond of the pocket. Like, that's how you play that ball. You do that in Hayball, or you do that in snooker, and you just miss the ball by a mile. And you have to fundamentally re-aim that entire shot. From the center of the table, the games play similar, fine. But like that's an entire aspect of 9-ball pool that you have to completely just ignore that you ever learn how to do that.
And the problem is the potential problem is that if you say all the money to be earned is in hay ball, and let's say these players, the Jason Shaws, Joshua Fillers, Shane, everything, they say, okay, let's chase the hay ball pot of gold. American pool professionally dies. Because why would they then play the other WPA 9-ball events or 8-ball events?
Yeah, if they do well in the hay ball, why are they going to go chase
the one thing you don't want to do
€3,000 prize?
There's very few players on the planet. And Chris Melling is a prime example of this. He's probably one of the best at just picking up a different cue and going and playing a different game. He's an exception to the rule. The majority of they can't do it. They can't go and play hay ball one week and then go and play the other, play 9-ball. It just doesn't work. You can't mix and match them like that and stay at the high level that you need to be. So then you make players make the choice of hay ball for the money, and then all of a sudden they're only going to play hay ball, and then the rest of the events die as well.
Can you imagine?
Wait a minute. What we want is for somebody to grow the sport, not to move it somewhere else, and then the sport that we love dies.
So Sam, let me give you a hypothetical here because you're the best player amongst us. You just won a high ball tournament. You just won a $750,000 prize. Are you ever going to go play an event ever again like the Euro Tour where first prize is €4,000, €5,000, whatever it is? You just won $750,000. Would you ever risk €2,000 to make $3,000 ever again?
Probably not. No.
Bye Euro Tour. You just lost one player for history.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just to expand upon your point, Jim. Like, if high ball does catch on, bye 9-ball, bye 8-ball, bye 10-ball.
No.
For the players that move the needle.
If you do it through the WTA, then bye 8-ball, bye 9-ball, bye 10-ball. Matchroom want to grow 9-ball. They want to keep American pool the way American pool is. On the table it's designed to be played on, and the rules that have been here for forever and ever and ever. From what I'm understanding from Stuart is they want to encourage the players to leave that behind and do hay ball. What happens then to 9-ball pool, to 10-ball pool, to 8-ball pool if all those players move over there? You know,
players that move the needles, because those are players that theoretically
they will in the end, and it's the same with this whole Matchroom WPA. The players are going to dictate who becomes successful and who doesn't become successful.
And then we have a professional, American pool driven by players like Mieszko Fortuński and Ralph Souquet, and I'm not trying to like denigrate these players, but they're not huge names. They're not huge commodities. You're not tuning in on a Friday night at 10 p.m. to watch a match with them, right? I mean, they're very nice players and they're very good players, but they're not Joshua Fillers. They're not Shane Van Bonings. Mm-hmm. They're not these types of players that move the needle.
Yeah, and Stuart's saying, yes, that's all they care about is 9-ball.
But you're on this stream telling us, yes, you are telling all the players to go to 9-ball.
Correct, Stuart. You are responsible for all disciplines, but it doesn't seem to me like you're paying them all the same amount of attention or respect. I mean, you say you're responsible for all of them. What are you? Show me the responsibility that you're giving 9-ball, 8-ball, 10-ball, American pool. When we basically the carrot you're dangling is hay ball money. It's not. That's not being responsible for all disciplines.
I mean, ultimately,
that's trying to get everybody into one box.
Yeah, we can bring Stuart on, and he can talk if he wants to. We're happy to have this discussion with him. I mean, Stuart, if you want to come on, you have the open invite to come on, and we can talk about things. And honestly, right there, what Stuart just said, honestly, that's a very, very fair criticism.
That's a valid point. That's the first valid point you've made. Yeah, what are they doing for the women? Well, I can tell you,
give them the same opportunity to give the men's.
Matchroom's plan in the beginning was that the women would compete with the men, and we saw with some of their individual events that Yasmin Ocean and Kelly Fisher and a couple of the Asian ladies were invited in, and the idea was that the men would be in there, the women would be in there competing with the men. Now, as we know, they can't, or very few of them actually can compete with the men at a high enough level. It's an open, can they do more for the women?
We've had this discussion a million times as to why that is the case, but it doesn't change the fact that it is the case.
It is the case, yeah. And what do
Does it have to always be the case? Who knows?
No,
I don't think it doesn't always have to, but it is the case now.
The PGA did very little for women's golf until quite recently as well. The LTA did very little for women's tennis until quite recently. It's, I don't know. There's still golf clubs throughout the world that do not allow female memberships. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Matchroom does more to include women than they probably should, and I don't mean that as like I'm not. Let me say this as carefully as I can. Let's look at the Premier League pool. They always make sure to include women in that.
Yeah.
And that is at potentially the detriment of men at the top of the rankings.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that. I think that's perfect. And the same thing with the Masters. When you get these events, I think that it should be the case. Let's get some women in there. Let's give them a chance to prove themselves on that stage to justify bringing them back later on, and even bigger roles. Why can't the World Pool Masters have 4 women, 5 women, 6 women if they can compete? What you don't want to do is give 5 spots up to women who are basically a fill-in for a bye. Right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be ticking boxes. It should be on merit.
And if there's one thing about Matchroom is they're giving the women plenty of opportunity to prove themselves over and over and over and over again, and I think that's rightfully so. I think it's not only is it entertaining to see, what's the girl that beat Earl Strickland last year and asked for a hug and he told her to get away. Whatever. I mean, that's a good. I mean, that's good marketing. That's good TV. What can you do? But I mean, I guess going to Stuart, back to what you said is very valid. But I just went through the entire WPA calendar, and there are 2 events for women on there.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the WPA doing for women?
Where's the women's professional tour through the WPA? Where's the men's professional tour through the WPA?
Yeah, I mean that's it, right?
You can say that Matchroom isn't really doing anything for women. You're not doing anything for anybody. Based on your calendar, based on the WPA calendar, you're not really doing much for anybody.
Yeah, and I'm not being exactly fair because I'm giving you 0 credit for the Euro Tour, but I'm unapologetically not giving you credit for the Euro Tour because the Euro Tour, again, if they require you to stay at their hotel, they inflate the cost of that hotel while you're there, and then say if you don't stay in the hotel, you can't play in our events. So they inflate the amount to make off of it, and then they charge you crazy amounts for entry fee, food, blah, 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 and then they make your prize fund 5,000 euros. I mean, I'm not giving credit for something that you have to get better than 3rd place to break even, or to make money, I should say. Well, you might not be talking about the Euro Tour, but the Euro Tour is the only thing basically on your schedule. Not your schedule, but the WPA schedule. There's, like I said, there's 8 opportunities for my mind, for men to make actual money. And that's assuming you don't have a bad tournament, right? I mean, if you have 3 bad tournaments and you're, 3 or 4 and out in some of these events, you just lost out on half of your opportunities to make money for the year.
Listen, the Euro Tour is actually the Euro Tour is great. It's got its place certainly within the European pool. There's a lot of players that have cut their teeth on the Euro Tour, and they've learned a lot. And it's a hard tournament to win. I mean, you can talk about the money being rubbish, but you don't win a Euro Tour unless you can play. And it still has its worth, but it's not a professional tournament anymore because it's not attractive to top professionals to play. But it still has a place, but I see it as being somewhere where people are going to learn. Players are going to come through the European system, and the Euro Tour is going to be where they're going to learn. They're going to learn the game. They're going to learn tournament play. but it's not. It's never, or it's not anymore the be all and end all of European pool.
And it's strictly for European pool. Because Sam, how much did it cost you to go to Austria?
For just me or my family?
Just you.
I think the plane ticket was $1,500, I believe. The hotel was pretty pricey, and then
How much?
the food.
As much as you can remember.
Mom, how much was the hotel?
$2,500.
$2,500
And
for the hotel.
that was at a discount.
But that was even at a discount.
At 1 room or 2 rooms?
That was just 1 room, so that's $4,000 right there. Food.
Another $400 or $500 in food.
Yeah, and
Probably
then
costs about $10,000 total.
But just for you, Sam, let's say it's
Yeah.
about 5,000, give or take. So Jim, as an American coming over for a Euro tour, what place would he have to get to make money at $5,000 invested?
He can't.
So your WPA calendar, which has 10 events, are only for a segment of players, right? No, the costs are not the same for everybody because our flights are a flight from. How much would it cost you to fly to Austria, Jim?
No, but I think what he's saying is that if you want to play in a Predator event and you're European, then you're going to pay the same.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, you're right. But if the Euro Tour is, and you cannot say that this is not true for anything but highball, the Euro Tour is the absolute backbone of the WPA schedule. It's the only thing that's consistent that's on there, besides spot events here and there, and it's only available then to European players. Jim, how much would it cost you for a flight from where you are to Austria?
Couple hundred
euros.
Mm-hmm.
So that event potentially would be okay for you. And telling the players, well, maybe you need to load up with 15 players in your hotel room, and then you can save money. Okay. I mean, I guess that's real.
Well, it's the same. I mean, Europe. I've talked about the European Championships. There's nothing to win there, just the prestige of being European champion. I played in the European Championships a number of years in the seniors division. And if it wasn't for the money that we got from the Dutch Federation in order to help the costs, and a lot of players wouldn't go because there isn't. You can't make money. It costs you. I mean, even with the money that I got for qualifying directly through the rankings, it still costs just to play in a European because you have to stay in that hotel. You have to you can't just find your own bed and breakfast somewhere, and it costs you 1,500 to 2,000, and then you get another 1,000 from the federation. It was the years that I did it. It costs you over 500 just registration fees to play in all the events to win nothing. So just your registration fees is 500. That's the 4 disciplines, 8, 9, 10 is straight, and then you've got the team discipline. So it was over 500 to play in all of them. Then your hotel costs for 9 days, hotel costs, and then your travel costs. So it's and all that money just goes into a pot that we don't know where it goes to. I guess there's a lot of referees that have to be paid. They have to pay for the arena and stuff like that. Transporting tables around and everything, and it's a great tournament. It's good fun. It's a great tournament to play in, but it's not something that any professional player is interested in doing because it only costs you money. And at the end of the day, this is a job for these guys, and I'm not going to go and work. I'm not going to go and do my job for free. Why should they go and do theirs for free? In fact, why should they go and do theirs when it costs them money to do it? Yeah.
No, I mean, the way I look at it is if the backbone, and the only thing I'm saying to close this out, Stuart, is the only reason I bring up the Euro Tour stuff is because that is literally talking about American pool, 8-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball, 14.1 banks, 1 pocket. The only thing on the WPA schedule, and I know you said it's not full, but what are you going to add that's going to change the outlook of it at this point? The only thing that's consistent on your schedule is the Euro Tour, and that is and you can only make money if you live in Europe for that. You just can't. You're breaking even if you snap the thing off from the U.S. I mean, it doesn't change. That is true.
Stuart's saying that, if you want to travel and play Matchroom events, then you're going to pay a lot unless you're in the top 8. You're in the hole.
It's the same with all of us. Hanoi Open.
Stuart, at this particular moment in time, you may be right. Maybe there isn't a massive amount of difference as far as your risk and reward with Matchroom and with other events. The difference is that let's have this conversation in 5 years' time, because this is exactly the same conversation that happened with the darts. When the PDC took over the darts or had the breakaway, the prize money in the BDO was still higher than that in the PDC. But very, very quickly, with all the television exposure and the right promoting, the prize money rocketed up and left the BDO behind. And that's the model that Matchroom have. That's the model they use. Now we can talk about the money, 40,000 first place for the major events. I would imagine you can expect that within 10 years to be over the 100,000 for winning easily for all of them. And that's what's going to happen. That's what Matchroom are able to do and have proven that they can do before, that nobody else in pool over the last 30 years. And I'm not just talking about the WPA, I'm talking about other things, IPT, blah, 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 everything they haven't managed to do. Matchroom have done it before. I expect them to do it again. And that's what players are buying into now. They're buying into the future of it, not the present of it. And it's just started. It's only a couple of years old. They're already way ahead of the model that they had for the darts, because in the darts, they didn't even have a tour when they did it. They did it first, the breakaway, and then had to create a tour. The tour is already there. The money's already there. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you cannot sell Hayball against what Matchroom have already done for darts. You ain't going to sell that to the players. The players are not going to buy into Hayball when they look at the model that Matchroom have already used before.
There's not a single player in the world. There's not a single cueist in the world that can compete on the highball stage. Sorry, there isn't. Can they win some matches? I mean, it's like the snooker players coming over and playing.
Well, Darren did it. I mean, Darren was world Hayball champion on that table, and it's just it's not. It's just not going to. It's just not going to be what the WPA are. I use the word selling. What the WPA are suggesting that they have, it just doesn't match up to what Matchroom have.
And this could be my ignorance, but when Darren won that was kind of in the inception of it, right? Like earlier on.
The quality was not there that there is now. There were snooker players that were getting there. He beat Mark Selby in the final. I mean, snooker players were getting deep in the events. They won't get deep in them now. That's
my point, right? The way that the field is currently as constructed. I watched the finals. It was last year. It was the handicap, right? And that was there was the girl that was playing her teacher.
Oh, another stupid rule. That is ridiculous.
But
that's one of the most sexist rules there ever been. You're a woman, and we don't care what level you play at.
Well,
because you're a woman, you're going to play one less ball.
I'm not making a statement to that either way. What I'm saying is, I remember the finals of that, and when I watched those two play, there's not an American pool player that can compete on that level. That has been professionalized to where the game has players that have reached highs that 9-ball pool players can never reach. I'm making a statement that I have honestly zero conviction in because I don't know the sport at all. But looking at knowing the game the way that I know the game and knowing the players the way I know the players, if they could compete on that level, they'd be playing snooker. Because basically that would take about the same level of talent to be able to compete with those players now as it would in snooker. And if they could be playing snooker, every single one of them would be playing snooker because there's 10 times the money in snooker.
Yeah. And Stuart says the market in Asia is huge. It dwarfs the USA.
You're right.
Great. Get out there but don't ask our players to have to go to Asia and join that, because there should be something for them here. And it's the game that they've grown up playing and they play now, and that's what they are.
You gonna go play some Hayball after this?
No.
I don't.
I want to try snooker though.
Snooker's a really fun
snooker
game.
will destroy your mind.
Yeah.
You will never.
Snooker's a great game. So, I mean, I'll say it now. Snooker's the best cue sport that's ever been. It's the best. And the best cueists are snooker players. But it's just such a tough game.
You will never feel more helpless than when you're looking at a 5-foot shot on the snooker table. You will feel helpless.
That's a completely different game. That's proper cueing. Yeah. Snooker.
Yeah, you'll find any sort of hitch in your stroke in about 3 seconds on that thing.
Yes. And your eyesight. You'll find out if your eyesight's any good as well.
I do want to thank Stuart though. Stuart.
Yes, thanks for joining in. Thanks
for the WPA. Yeah. And honestly, I thought we had a pretty good discussion with it. And I think going forward, I hope that he's right. Honestly, I hope that the WPA creates a tour. Obviously he'll say they're not promoters, and that's fine. But you have to partner with promoters, and part of your job is to be able to partner with promoters. And going forward, if the WPA, I'm saying you, as if I'm talking about you, it's not you, it's the WPA. If the WPA cannot get along with the promoters that do have to advance the sport, then the WPA is kind of failing at its most fundamental level. But at the same time, if the WPA can pull it off and they could get it together a professional tour of actual money in the event and lots of events across the calendar, I'm telling you, that's exactly what their kind of job is, and everybody in the industry is better for it. Everybody is better for it.
We've said it before. The best way to improve quality is if two people are trying to outdo each other all the time, and then they just push each other to a higher level, and. Thanks to Stuart for hanging around. It would have been easy for him to run away and just switch off and after the first 5 minutes. I appreciate him hanging around and putting his point of view forward. And I just to echo what Nate said, anytime he wants to come on the show, today would have been a bit for him. We know it hasn't worked out particularly well for previous WPA people who have just jumped on a podcast unprepared. But you're more than welcome to jump on.
Well, he's been on the podcast in the past. I brought him on to talk about because he does a lot of just incredible work in the Oceania part of the world. The WPA is his newest venture, but he's been involved with pool in Australia for years and years and years and years. He's not coming out of nowhere with a lot of the stuff that he's talking about. He does great work in his neck of the woods. And like I said, he's been on the podcast in the past. You have the invite going forward. All of the WPA. I've talked to Shane Tyree and invited him on as well, and he said that he wanted to, but it just didn't work out. And the WPA, we're not going to be asking softball questions, but I don't think that we're gonna. If there's one thing that I gotta hate on Molina Mike for a little bit is he was very hostile towards some of the WPA people. I would like to say that I'm not going to be that way.
I'll do that.
Sure. But with that being said, Molina Mike has, the interviews they did were incredible, but he admitted that he was a little hostile toward them. So, it's one of those things that they have the invite.
It's a sensitive subject, and it's a massive, it's a huge moment in time for our sport. So yeah, people get passionate about it. People get, passion turns into a little bit of hostility maybe sometimes.
It's the future of the sport. There's
no. And if I don't care who you are, if any part of the future of the sport is in your hands, I expect you to do a fucking good job with it, and I'll call you out on it if I don't think you are. And I think when you put yourself in a position of responsibility, then you need to expect to be held accountable if it's not going well. And Stuart's saying it's a whole new start. There's a whole new board. It's a bit of a reset. Good. I hope they've learned from a lot of the mistakes that were made in the past, because they had a long time on their own with nobody standing up to them and competing against them, where they didn't bring the sport forward the way they could have and perhaps should have been. Now there is somebody that's willing to do it and trying to do it. Step up and show that you can do it better or improve. That's all we ask. Just do better. Simple. It's a new board, new people. Good. Do better than the last ones.
Or get the hell out of the way and let somebody who actually cares do
something. Or get out of the way and let somebody else do it. Exactly.
Which we're hoping was the case going right now. Because if the previous board members got the hell out of the way and are letting the new members do something, then fantastic, great.
Yeah.
Sam, You're very talkative. You just got to just throw your opinions around. That's kind of what we do.
Yes, I know I am. I'm sorry. I've been very loud this episode.
I think you're still recovering from the 6 videos that Nate put up.
Yeah.
Shall we close?
Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
He enjoys it. Every time he enjoys it more.
I think it's fun.
Guys, it's been fun, but it's been an hour and 45 minutes, and nobody needs to be listening to us for an hour and 45 minutes.
Nope. The only thing we're going to do here is we're going to give one shout out to our Patreons. So thank you very much to our Patreons who support the channel and allow us to continue doing what we do.
Yeah,
Dave Wiersma. I'm going to get to it. Dave Wiersma, Mo Bashir, Cody Wettig, Ed Ladawi, who's been in the comments this whole time. Thank you. Matt Poland, who's also been in the comments this whole time. Yes, and Matt Poland, thank you all very much for your support. And if you are interested in supporting the podcast as well, you can go to patreon.com/Cue It Up, or you can just reach out to the podcast, or you can reach out to me personally, and I can help you out with that. If you would like to support the podcast, it's not required, obviously. But if you appreciate what we do here and want to support us going forward, that's one way you can do it. And then to our sponsors who makes this happen, Jacoby Custom Cues. Best cue out there. That's the cue I use. It's the brake cue I use. I got one of their jump cues. They're incredible cues, beautiful, and they play amazing. Here's an ad.
Amazing.
It's always a very relaxing ad, isn't it? I love that. That cue won Cue of the Year. Jacoby has won. So in the last 14 years, they have never placed less than second place in the Cue of the Year, and they've won it, I believe,
12 times, is it?
Of the last 14 years, I believe they've won it 7 of the last 14 years, and they've taken second in the other 7. They've won more than that, but that's just the last 14 years. So they do some incredible work.
Beautiful cues.
Beautiful cues. They play amazing as well. If you want to get your hands on one, you can always reach out to me. We are an official dealer for them. So reach out to us. We can get you a nice hookup. We can get you a nice percentage off of a cue. We'll also give a shout out to Insight Performance Coaching. If you need mental training, over there to their website, say that the Cue It Up podcast sent you. Billiards Digest, Salado, Digital Pool, Onboard Sportswear, and Horo Tips. Thank you, all of our sponsors, for the support. Thank you, all the Patreons, for your support. And with that, we'll tune off for another week. Sam.
Just kidding. It's just me in my backyard.
You want to sign us off, Sam?
I guess this is the last show of 2023.
Oh yeah, I guess it probably is, isn't it?
So everybody watching, everybody at home, have a happy new year. Stay safe. Don't drink too much. We'll see you in 2024, a new year, exciting stuff.
We're going to try to do some new things in 2024.
Nate's going to try winning some matches.
I'm going to try to get over 700 Fargo. You think I can do it, Jim?
No.
I don't think you can.
If I did, would you give me...
Okay. I will, if you manage to get your Fargo in the year 2024 over 700, I will do a show naked. That's how confident I am.
Jim, there is a 16-year-old boy on the podcast right now.
Yeah, but I'm not going to ask him to do it naked. That would be unfair. Right, we will come up with some weird bet. I will do something extraordinarily stupid. I will jump off the stratosphere in December in Las Vegas if Nate gets his Fargo above 700.
Do you know what my Fargo's at right now?
It's still not even close to 700. 660, 670?
I'm at 683.
There you go. Get over that 700, mate, and I'll jump off the stratosphere.
I want to jump with you, and you're paying for it. How's that?
Deal.
There it is. All right. Who wants to play a bunch of Solano mats?
Who wants to sandbag some Solano mats? Yeah. What you now need is somebody who's just above the 600 threshold who wants to get down to the 599.
Yeah.
and stuff them 9-0 about 4 or 5 times. Get them under the 600 so they can play their tournaments and get you above the 700.
All right, let's hear. Everybody that's still tuning in, first off, why are you still here? And second off, do you think that I can do it as a 683? I want to hear whether or not you think I have a chance. This will be fun. Sam, do you think I can do it?
What's your robustness?
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean,
it's over 5,000, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're not gonna get many points for stuffing it. You could stuff Sky 9-0, and you're only going to get about 5 points on your Fargo.
In September, I was a 671. So, and I'm only maybe played 5 events since then, 6 events.
Jim, I don't think you got to worry about jumping out the stratosphere.
I don't think so either.
That's my answer to his question.
I know how good. I know the level you need to play at to get above 700, and Nate just can't do it.
It's really rude.
Anyway, are we done?
Well, almost. I need to do downloads. Where's downloads? This one. Okay, here we go.
Is this going to be your 870 Fargo thing?
No. This. Okay, so here's my, just so that we have it. A Fargo. Oh, I went down a point. So I'm 682 with 5,366 games in the system. We're going to have like monthly updates to see how close I'm getting, just to see if Jim gets nervous. That's some good incentive.
I'm not worried.
I'm not worried. That seems fine. All right, let's close it out there. Let's, I don't know. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'll echo what Jim said. Happy New Year. Thank you for tuning in all this time in the last year. And we look forward to another great year of podcasts in the new year. So thank you, everybody. Oh, there you go. Chris wants to know if you think you can get to 650.
It's easier to get from 638 to 650 than it is to get from 680 to 700.
What about 682?
Depends who the player is.
That's true. All right. Let's close it out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next year.
Bye.